Hello to everybody in my extended family in the motocross world. Obviously, times are bizarre at the minute. There's no doubt about it, and probably the last thing you need to see is my face. But do you know what? I don't care, because I figured the fact that we're all isolated, we've got to stay in, we've got to do that. It would be a good time to do a man in the van, mainly for my own sanity, really, because I'm borderline. By the way, that's a good idea. Stay calm, drink tea. Yeah, so first and foremost, I really hope that everybody is staying safe out there and none of you have the direct impact of the coronavirus. So I hope all your family and friends are well, keep staying safe, and you're staying safe and sort of following the rules. I think initially we all thought, oh, it's just, you know, it's all overhyped and will blow over, but as each passing day goes on, I think we're starting to realise that's not the case. So I really hope you're all doing your bit the best you can. Obviously, I guess people still want to ride, which is a good thing because we love what we do. But this is not tea, by the way. This is coffee, and it's lush. I guess the real thing is, well, the sensible thing to do is to not. Now, I know there's still practice tracks and stuff open. I guess everybody has to make their own opinion and do what they got to do. But I don't think that's the best decision. We all want to ride, but one of the real reasons, I'll get that out in a minute, is for me is our sport gets such a hard time in national press with little Herbert stealing bikes and people riding in restricted areas, places they shouldn't. So when a nation needs to pull together, I think the last thing we need in the UK in particular is sort of showing unity with the rest of the country and not getting out there and riding and looking like we just don't care, because I think the knock-on effects of that won't be great. But anyway, that's my opinion. It's not all about my opinion. I'd love to hear yours, which is another reason why I decided to do it man in the van with just myself. Obviously, I can't get out and speak to people at the minute. I'm going to try to do that when things pick up. But right now I can't. So I've been thinking, I'm not sure what you lot have been obviously just getting by. I just thought if we can't go riding for a while, I started to think in general of where the sport's at in the UK, and I always try to be positive. I think I do. And now I thought, because we can't go out and we can't do anything, it would be a good time to actually start a social debate about where we're at on the sport and in the UK and how we can improve it. Because let's be honest, we're all going to be looking at the internet and social media websites more, and websites, etc., as we're refined, restricted to go out. So yeah, so I just thought we'd maybe do that. We'd start chatting, and it'd be great to hear your opinions on this particular man in the van and where we're going and what we're gonna be doing basically going forward. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm just going to throw a few things out there. I thought, well, I think too much. That's the bottom line, which I do. So, throwing these questions out there then. I just wanted to know what people's opinion are on the amount of races that we have a year. I know that there's a load of nationals, there's loads of different rider level. I appreciate that, But I've sort of, as time's gone on, and we're in a very different environment now to say we were 10 years ago. We've had a lot of doubt, basically, with the whole Brexit thing. That put a lot of people off and how much they could, willing to spend, sponsors, all that kind of thing. We just live in more uncertain times, and we're fighting so much against other sports and other things to do on a weekend. So I'm just wondering, what if everybody out there, what they think about whether we're just too diluted, there's too much going on, whether it is now the time with this enforced layoff to really open discussions with all the federations or whatever to try and look at a way of working better together, basically. I know everybody wants to race and everybody wants, to a degree, glory, and some go looking for it, or mainly because it's more regional to them, or sometimes the standard's too high at certain things, so they go and race another club championship or national championship. But is that what we really need? Do we need more qualifying? to get to nationals and less of them. So yeah, I think, I don't know, I just want to hear your opinion on that. You know, maybe we need to seriously look in the UK at pushing our calendar back. You know, that's the other thing that's changed over the last 10 years or more, is our environment. You know, it's we're getting more mild autumns than we've ever done, and obviously our winters are getting worse and worse all over the world, particularly in the UK. You know, more people getting flooded out in January, February time. So are we pushing it by trying to just get races to the start line and underway that time of year? Obviously we've just had the first round of the ACU British Championship postponed, cancelled, whatever you want to call it. And actually, before we even get into that route where, or down that path where people think that I'm bashing federations, the ACU in particular, because I'm now talking about the British Championship, you're so wrong. I just want to stress that. So anybody watching from the ACU, Gareth, Steve McCauley or whatever, this isn't a call out on the ACU. I'm talking about the sport in general, you know, and we all want, if you're a real fan of sport, you all want the ACU British Championship to succeed. 100%. And if anybody doesn't, then really what you're doing in our sport, because we should be united. So I'm just looking and thinking about that, you know, like Gareth obviously is trying to push on and get the basically the adults and youth riding together, which I've always said is, I agree with that. I think it's a good idea. But like a lot of things, I suppose, it's going to need, you know, fine tuning and looking at. You could almost compare it, I suppose, to VAR in football. You know, a good idea in principle, but it's been with its setbacks. So, you know, if we are going to go down that route, obviously the weekend at Little Silver will probably highlight the problems with that, having so many riders in one paddock. Make sure we're going to tracks that can take that many vehicles in a paddock. How the track works, certainly access and all that. So I know that Gareth would have learnt a lot from that. And you know, sometimes you just got to put your hands up and admit a mistake. Gareth did that on the day in the riders meeting. For those of you, and team meeting, for those of you that wasn't in there, there was only a few of us team managers and riders in there. And Gareth was actually literally put his hand up in the air and said, okay, look, we've messed up on this one. So fair play to him for that. But that needs to be looked at. And I think, you know, does it need to be so long as well, the championship? Yes, we've always had as many rounds as we've had. But maybe we look at the Italian championship as a model. You know, they start, okay, they do start early in the year to get out before the Grand Prix season. But, you know, I think they only have 4 rounds. Or maybe 5. Somebody will obviously correct me on that if I'm wrong. And that seems to work for them. So I think maybe we need to look at that. And if we do start later in the year with less races, and this one I'm sure will open a whole can of worms, particularly because my position as being involved. But maybe, you know, we can do what they do in America, and there's no doubt that it's worked in America for a number of years, where we look to take our motocross season, or we define it, and arena cross is a way forward if we're getting more support into it. You know, it's so difficult to get out and ride in January, February and March. You know, maybe if more people were willing to do that in the UK, seriously willing to do that, we could look at having a bigger and better series. Whether Matt Bates decides to do it, obviously he's in the driving seat to do it or whatever, who knows. But, you know, AMA Motocross throughout the years has basically been driven forward by AMA Supercross. Now, I know AMA Supercross is huge football stadiums, bigger, better, because they can afford to do that in America. We can't, but what we could definitely do is maybe have a decent arena cross series with more British interest, which will basically try and get more British companies, outside sponsors involved, because we have to be realistic. At the minute, in the current guise, outdoor British motocross is really struggling. Not with us, because we're all into it and all the teams and riders want to be part of it and go along and improve the situation, but we are not doing enough to attract outside money. We're just not, and it pains me to say that, but that's the truth. It's just that simple. So we genuinely and seriously need to have to look at ways of how we're going to improve that situation. And you know, for those companies, those people that aren't into it, we need to sell it to them. And then all of a sudden, the idea of maybe coming to a big glitzy event at the start of the season where it's warm and dry and you can't do much on a weekend anyway and whatever, might just hook them in enough to want them to stay and get involved with teams, riders, whatever, all the way through the season. And then if we had a shorter outdoor season throughout the summer months into the autumn, better weather, more chance of those sponsors wanting to be involved. So as I said, I'm sure a load of you will probably think I'm talking crap. There's times where I question if I'm talking crap, and sometimes I even work out that I am. So, but here we are. We're having a debate, or I want to, and hear people's opinion, because right now I don't think I can handle spending weeks and months on a house without basically hearing and talking to my extended motocross family. You know, I'm gonna miss being at the races for a while, not just because of seeing the action, but the social side of it is a huge part for me. It's probably why I keep doing what I do. I've always explained motocross to people that don't know what it's about as an exciting caravanners club. Basically, we all travel around the UK, pitch up in a field for a weekend, but rather than put up the windbreak, get the plastic bowls set out, or playing swing ball, we tear around on motorbikes and get excited by that. So I really think now, more than ever, not just obviously this coronavirus has enforced us all staying in and doing what we got to do, but just where we're at anyway. It's been going on for so long. The uncertainty over Brexit, etc., etc. So, you know, if we've got some time off, now maybe is a good time to start that debate and really get your opinions, because I'd love to think that all the federations, you know, the ACU, the MCF, the BSMA, the AMCA, Opera, the list goes on, and that's a battle in its own right. Really start thinking about where we're at and how we can improve the situation. As I said, you know, there's many ways to look at it. The youth championships, for example, particularly, you know, is it, as I mentioned, is it good to have them at the races with the pros? Maybe we should revert back to having, like I used to have back in the day, like a champions of champions style thing, but we do that with the federations for the youth riders. You know, we take the top 10 from each federation to have one big thing where they all pull together. Now, I know straight away that sounds like a political nightmare, logistical nightmare. Maybe if you had all the federations pulling together for one big event, like Loretta Lynns or the Mini O's in Florida or something like that, or even, well, yeah, because like Loretta Lynns, you have to qualify to get to. You had Mammoth Mountain, which I've been fortunate enough to go to. That's a qualifying process to get there, and they ride obviously for a week, or certainly over 2 or 3 days for each class, and it's epic. You know, do we even need British Championship, British champions, all these different British champions at youth level? You know, that's the other thing. Are we putting too much pressure on the kids, and therefore it's all getting a bit serious and it's lost its way a little bit with the fun and that side of it? I appreciate there's always going to be some riders that come to the top, the cream comes to the top, and they want to go off and do the European Championship and whatever, and we need to stay with Europe regards of that standard. But do we need as many races as we're getting? You know, is it better just to have 4 or 5 quality events where all the best kids in the UK are at, and the standard will rise that way? You know, maybe take a British runner event abroad to Belgium or Holland, you know, and then we can get maybe some Dutch riders or Belgian riders, German riders, whatever, coming along as well, and we can compete and see where we're at that way. Like I said, the list goes on and on. I just want to hear people's opinions of it. Media is another one, no doubt about it. We are way behind where we should be. You know, but we're doing certain things. Credit to basically like Gareth again. He's gone ahead and done this live feed, you know, which is great for the BYNs, and I applaud him for that. But at the same time, we need to look where that goes out. You know, maybe that just goes on one channel that all the other media houses and companies can then put it on their website, so it's getting out there. Just a thought, Gareth. And for the British or all the nationals as well, you know, maybe it is genuinely time to start doing a pay-per-view live for those that can't make it out, don't want to make it out. Even if it's not the greatest, you know, you don't need a load of cameras, just so you can see roughly what's going on. And maybe do that, and then we do reruns or something on a Tuesday or Wednesday for those, you know, that couldn't make it but didn't want to pay to see it live, because we still need to get people out to the events. Yeah, so that's it really. It's just a bit of a rally cry to hear your opinions on it all, and just in general the state of the sport, you know. So I'd love to hear from you guys with regards to the questions. Obviously, if you're watching this on Facebook or whatever, you know, and comment below, and then hopefully through Dirt Hub or myself, you know, we can answer or just get people engaging on where we're at. So that's it really. I just wanted to sit in the van and get all that off my chest, which I've now done. I feel like I need to do that because I've been to Tesco's today, got up at 5:30 to go and get some food and provisions for my elderly mother. And it hit me pretty hard, the chaos in there, basically, and the human nature that I saw and the way everybody's panicking and whatnot. And it's genuinely got me thinking to this, and then even more. And I just thought, you know what, I need a bit of therapy. I need to sit in a van and basically get all that off my chest. So I have, and that's it really. I'll leave it at that for now. So it'd be really good to, as I said, to hear from you all. Just by signing off again, I just hope you're all being safe and sensible about this, because this is real. This coronavirus, you know, it's not going away in a hurry. But, you know, let's stay positive. That's what I would say. And right, as I said from the get-go, use this opportunity for us to stay in touch with each other more on social media and do what we do to really see where we can go with this, and maybe use this off time for better planning for, you know, 2021, and see if we can make changes to make the sport better. So it'd be great to hear from you. In the meantime, keep washing those hands. I guess we won't need this for a while. Race to Relax arm pump. Basically, hopefully when you do get back riding though, because you'll be off the bike for so much, you're going to need a bit of that. So thanks for them for getting involved and sponsoring Man in the Van series, and of course FXR. And that's it really. I'm going to sign off. Take the dogs for a walk, keep my distance from people, which to be fair I do when I'm out walking anyway. And that's it. All right, I'll catch up with you all soon. I don't know when the next Man in the Van would be. Hopefully I'll get a chance to get somebody in here. I'm not sure. I think that's just about a metre from here to this other seat over there. We may have to do it with masks on and something like that, but I will try and hunt somebody down to sit in the van soon to get their opinion on, maybe on what we just spoke about. And also, by the way, if you've got an opinion on the whole, not just British motocross, where we're at with world motocross, etc., it'd just be good to hear from you. Put it this way, it's better than doing the housework repeatedly over months and months. So join the debate. Let's hear from you. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon. All right, I'm out of here. Tally ho.